Hi everyone and welcome back to LL Sports TV. Hope you're all doing well. I've got to start this video by saying this. In all the years I've been supporting Arsenal Football Club, and we're talking many decades now, I don't think I have ever, and I mean ever, seen the Arsenal fan base so diametrically opposed to a proposed signing than I have with the proposed signing of Noni Madueke, currently of Chelsea, to Arsenal. I mean, yes, there were dissenting voices amongst the fan base when Arsenal signed Aaron Ramsdale from Sheffield United. I remember that well. Even more dissenting voices when Arsenal signed Kai Havertz from Chelsea. There was also dissenting voices when Arsenal signed David Raya from Brentford. A lot of Arsenal fans were a bit perplexed by the signing initially. But I don't think I've ever seen the kind of reaction that I'm seeing now with Arsenal about to sign Noni Madueke from Chelsea. I mean, like I said, the outright negativity and I would say hostility that I'm seeing at the moment is unprecedented. But it would appear that the signing is imminent. I mean, I'm hearing that negotiations are at an advanced stage. Heard that Noni Madueke has agreed personal terms of Arsenal. A fee has been agreed. We're talking about in the region of 50 million plus. So the signing is about to happen, and that signing has been met by universal negativity, it would appear, amongst the Arsenal fans. Like I said, verging on hostility and condemnation. And by way of example, I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about. So as you probably guys know, I am associated with AFTV, a channel that is run by my brother Robbie. And you know that AFTV have a large following. And the social team did a poll the other day asking Arsenal fans how they would receive Noni Madueke at Arsenal. They're basically saying, would you like to see Noni Madueke at Arsenal? And that poll was, there was a lot of people who contributed to that poll. I don't have the exact numbers, but I do know that there was a lot of people that submitted entries to that poll. And from what I'm hearing from the social media team, a staggering 95% of the fans that were polled said they did not want Madueke at Arsenal. Now that is significant, I think. There's also been, from what I can understand, fan petitions, Arsenal fan petitions, hashtag no to Noni. There has been, widespread opposition. Apparently, Noni Madueke has had to turn off the comments on his social media page because it was getting flooded by Arsenal fans with abuse, which, listen, obviously I don't agree with that. That is poor. Whoever did that, that is out of order. I don't align with that type of behaviour whatsoever. But I think that gives you an indication of how the proposed signing is being received by the majority of Arsenal fans. In fact, I would go as far as to say that I've not personally spoken to or even online seen a single Arsenal fan that seems to be in support of this signing. In fact, the only fans that appear to be welcoming this signing are Chelsea fans. You know what I mean? As for myself, I'm going to put my cards on the table from the outset. I previously said, and I made it known, that I categorically did not want to see Arsenal sign Noni Madueke, and I'm happy to give you my reasons why. So here goes. Let's start with April 2024, last April. Chelsea were playing Everton. I remember watching that game. Chelsea, I think they were 3 or 4-0 up at the time. They get a penalty and Noni Madueke rushes to pick up the ball, despite the fact that Cole Palmer is Chelsea's designated penalty taker. Cole Palmer got a hat-trick in that game, by the way. At that time as well, Cole Palmer was flying. So anyway, Madueke picks up the ball. He then gets into a heated argument with Cole Palmer. Then Nicholas Jackson enters the fray. He starts arguing, and it ends up with Noni Madueke and Nicholas Jackson jostling each other, pushing each other, exchanging insults. In the end, the Chelsea captain, Conor Gallagher, had to come in. He takes the ball off Madueke, at which point Madueke has strong words for him. Listen, it was utterly and totally embarrassing. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I mean, I've seen players arguing over penalties before, but this was on another level. As I said, absolutely embarrassing. And the manager at the time, the Chelsea manager at the time, Pochettino, he was outraged and he said he was going to discipline the players concerned. Anyway, so as I said, an embarrassing and undignified squabble over a penalty when Chelsea are like 3 or 4 goals to the good, like a lot of people said at the time. And I was one of them, said, would those two have been arguing over a penalty if it was a crunch moment? And, you know what I mean, that penalty need to be scored in order for Chelsea to win a match or a, you know what I mean, a final or something like that. But anyway, like I said, totally embarrassing. So that's one. December 2024, the current Chelsea manager, Enzo Maresco, he drops Madueke from the first team and he publicly criticizes Madueke for what he says, and I quote, having a poor attitude. He said that Madueke needs to do more in training. He also said that Madueke, and again, I'm quoting Enzo Maresco here, he says he needs to be more ambitious. Now, those are Enzo Maresco's words, they're not mine. That's the Chelsea manager speaking about one of his players in public. Now, the reason why I bring up those examples is because I think that Madueke, based on what I've seen there, has significant character flaws. And I don't consider him to have that kind of elite mentality that I think you need in order to achieve major honours in the game. I don't think Madueke has the kind of personality profile that aligns with Mikel Arteta's principles. I mean, Mikel Arteta, the Arsenal manager, is said to be a relative authoritarian. He's a stickler for discipline and attitude, also structure. It's well known that he fell out with previous Arsenal captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, despite Aubameyang being a top player at the time. He fell out with Aubameyang. Aubameyang apparently was known for his tardiness, i.e. lateness, turning up late for training, for meetings, even on one occasion a football match. That led to Arteta stripping Aubameyang of the captaincy, and it led to Aubameyang being sold from the club. So I guess what I'm saying is, if Arteta can do that to Aubameyang, I don't see how the signing of Noni Madueke aligns with those principles. I can't reconcile Madueke coming into Arsenal based on what we know about him as a person already. But there are other reasons why I'm not too keen on this signing either. Let's talk about the fee, the proposed fee of, 52 million people are talking about. Now, like many Arsenal fans, I believe that fee to be an exorbitant fee for a player who, let's be honest, he's a good player. I'm not saying he's not, but I don't think he's consistently delivered at Chelsea. I don't think he's worth that type of money based on, what I've seen of him. I mean, apparently he contributed to 11 goals last season. I think he's got something like 20 goals in 90-odd appearances for Chelsea. I mean, that's not bad, but it's not great either, is it? It's not overly impressive. So I don't think what I've seen of Madueke so far, he warrants Arsenal spending upwards of 50 million on him. I just don't think he's been consistent enough. Indeed, Enzo Maresco is publicly saying that. I mean, let's talk about the squad fee. I mean, Noni Madueke is by trade a right winger. Now, we already have one of the premier right wingers in the world in Bukayo Saka. Now, Madueke predominantly plays on the right wing. In fact, he's been quoted as saying he prefers the right wing. Now, will he be coming to Arsenal as a backup? I mean, I would argue that we already have a really good backup in Ethan Nwaneri. In fact, I would say, in my humble opinion, that Ethan Nwaneri is a better player than Madueke. And if not right now, then he certainly has a higher ceiling than Noni Madueke. So will he play on the left wing? I mean, is he good enough to displace Gabriel Martinelli and Trossard? I would argue not, based on what I've seen. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. To pay 50 million pounds for a backup player, I'm not so sure. I mean, whilst Madueke can play on the left, he is heavily left-footed. His most effective performance has been on the right-hand side. And like I said, he's actually on the record as saying he prefers to play on the right wing. Also, I think many Arsenal fans think that rather than signing Madueke, we should be prioritising signing an established left winger. Obviously, we've been linked with the likes of Rodrigo, we've been linked with Eze. So what we want to know as fans is, if we sign Madueke for 50 odd million, where does that leave the club in terms of the other proposed signings or players that Arsenal are pursuing, the likes of Rodrigo, who is, an established left winger, or even Eze, whom I'm a big fan of. If we sign Madueke, where does that leave the club in terms of signing the likes of Rodrigo and Eze? So, for, quite a few reasons, this proposed signing of Madueke is not proving popular with the Arsenal fans. And so, yeah, I mean, listen, I've, made it clear. I think it doesn't represent good value for money for me. I don't think the signing of Madueke addresses the critical needs of the squad. I don't think Madueke is the type of player that Arsenal fans want to see at the club, and I'm including myself in that. I don't think he has the type of mentality required to take Arsenal to that next level. I think Madueke is also seen by a lot of the fans as yet another Chelsea misfit, a person that is not quite considered good enough for Chelsea, yet Arsenal snapping him up. You know what I mean? So, and I guess we went through that with Raheem Sterling. So yeah, for a number of reasons, for multiple reasons, I do not think that this represents good value for money. I don't think it would be a good signing. And if Arsenal do sign him, which it would appear that they are gonna, then you can understand why a lot of the fans have their reservations. That being said, though, it does look like Arsenal are going to sign it. As I said previously in this video, it looks like the signing is imminent. And I've got to say that if Arsenal do sign him, then obviously I will refrain from criticising Noni Madueke. I mean, at the end of the day, I will have to align with the signing, and I will refrain from overly criticising him. And listen, I will wish him well. You know what I mean? If he comes to the club, if he gets his head down, works hard, puts in good, consistent performances, then I'm sure he will win the likes of myself over. And listen, I've said what I've said about him. If he proves me wrong, then fair play to him. I'll be the first one in a long line of Arsenal fans to admit that I got it wrong. I mean, I've got it wrong in the past. I'll get it wrong in the future. So if he proves me wrong, then fair play. I'm more than willing to hold my hand up and admit that I got it wrong. But I've just got to give my honest appraisal of what I've seen of him so far. Based on what I've seen of him so far, I don't think he represents good value for money. I don't think it'll be a good fit for Arsenal. But hey, that's just my opinion. As they say in football, as in life, you never say never. But that's all from me. I'd love to know what you guys think, by the way. Do you think Noni Madueke will be a good signing for Arsenal? If you do think so, please let me know why in the comments. Why do you think he would represent a good player for Arsenal? Where do you think he should play, on the right or on the left? Do you think, him coming in, he can play on both wings and give Arsenal some versatility and some options in those positions? Yeah, let me know what you think. I'd be very interested to hear what you guys think. Thanks so much for watching the video. Really do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, please like, share and subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out.